All right, Max. First question for you. Toughest difference between high A and low A?
Oh, that's a good one. I was just talking about this, and I think the biggest difference, honestly, is like the pitching scatter reports. I feel like in the lower levels, and honestly, like even FCL and low A, like guys still had really, really good stuff. Obviously, they sprayed a little bit more down in those levels, but the jump between low A and high A is bigger than what people might expect. Guys definitely do their homework. It's an older league, and it's like after those first 2 weeks, you might be swinging it well, and then automatically you just notice guys start pitching you differently, and they're taking their notes, they're doing their homework, and they're just able to execute at a higher level. You don't see as many advantage counts. And in those advantage counts that you do get, they aren't guaranteed heaters anymore because guys can command two or three pitches in the zone at all times. And so you just have to be ready to kind of go at all points of the game, and just be ready to attack early.
I know that you put in a ton of work as you always do during the off season, but I'm going to ask you name the one thing, and it's too early to say whether you're incorporating it or maybe you do like the one thing that you did this off season that you're like, I can't wait to unleash this over the course of a whole year. And maybe it's happened a little
Uh,
bit.
I would honestly have to say the mental side of things. Last year, like it was the first time that I'd kind of struggled, because obviously, like being a high school guy, high succession rate, and then coming into last year, like there were so many ups and downs across 130 games, and kind of like the biggest thing that I worked on this offseason was like how to maintain my emotions throughout failure and positives, and kind of just ride the wave rather than go with the highs and be down with the lows. So trying to just understand and stay steady throughout 140 games is tough. But I mean, I started off like 4 for 10 and then a 5 for 14. So somewhere in like the 400s. And then I finished last week with an over 8 streak, and I'm still here in one piece. So that's a lot better than what we were doing last year. And I feel good. Like I feel really confident. And that's like the biggest thing you need. You need confidence in this game. Guys are too good. And if you have even an inkling of doubt in what you're able to do, then you have no chance stepping to that plate.
I think people get the idea of like, all right, I'm going to work on my swing. I'm going to work to get stronger. How do you work on that side of the game in the off season?
A lot of reading. A lot of reading. My mom was a school teacher, so it was kind of like force fed growing up. Got to read this many books, got to read this to be able to hit, whatever it may be. So, a lot of reading. I read The Inner Game of Tennis this year, which has been probably the best book I've ever read in my entire life. And it is eye opening. And it just talks about like so many different aspects of being a professional athlete or an athlete at a high level, and just trying to understand how the mind works in the game, and understanding the ups and downs of who you are as a person. And it was big. It was eye opening for me. I needed it. And I'm just trying to carry that kind of mentality into 25 and for the rest of my career as well.
Okay. One of your early challenges this year was having to face Chase Burns. Filthy or filthiest?
He's the best guy I've seen. Actually, I take it back. I've seen Scooble. I faced Scooble in the spring, so like he's definitely the goat. But definitely the best minor league pitcher I've ever seen. I mean, it's just elite stuff, and he works at such a high pace too. He's an ultimate competitor. Like he's gonna give it to you. He's gonna give you his best stuff. I was hitting leadoff, and it was his first start of high A. I mean, he just comes out immediately. 100-mile-an-hour heater at 20 vert, which is outrageous as it is. He's like 7 foot release height, like super high. Feels like he's throwing it from the sky, and he's also cutting at the same time. So that shape alone is like an elite fastball. And then you double it down with a 70 slider at 90 miles an hour. It's just those are shapes that you haven't seen before, and it's definitely like whoa. Like you take a step back and kind of understand like this dude's probably gonna be in the big leagues in 4 months, hopefully. So, but like at the same time, after you see him that first at bat, like you for me at least, I saw each and every one of his pitches. So like that second at bat was a little bit more comfortable. But even at that point, like you can't get too comfortable against a guy like that. I at least got a walk my second at bat, so I kind of I celebrated with that one. Worked a good AB, but that's like going back to even what we were just talking about with the first question, where guys like I got up to a 3-0 count and a 2-0 count, and it was still breaking balls. So like he had read his scouting report. Like I like to hunt heaters in that count, and it was a 3-0 slider he just ripped off and it almost made me swing. So it's three really good pitches. It's really good command, and the pace is honestly the biggest separator. That dude threw probably 20 pitches in the first inning in like 5 minutes.
All right. Less specific. What's your walk-up song?
Oh, right now I'm doing "Loving on Me" by Jack Harlow. It has a Detroit reference, so I just threw that in there. A little sprinkle of some hometown. So I'm loving it. It's a groovy, it's a vibe, and I'm loving it at the moment.
Do you change that often, or do you stick with it for a while?
I'm kind of a change guy. I'll change it if I like. I'm not
That tracks.
superstitious. I'm a little stitious, but like if I go like over, over 10, over 12, it's like all right, we got to change the walk up song. So, but it hasn't happened yet. Knock on wood, luckily. So we're sticking with it.
Favorite pregame meal?
Ooh, favorite pregame meal. Ooh, probably Chipotle. Probably Chipotle or Moe's. I love adobo chicken. It's the easiest way to get it in, protein wise, and it just nothing beats it. We also the two times we've had Chipotle this year, we've won. So I'm not saying it's a streak, but it's a streak.
But you're not superstitious.
But I'm not superstitious.
And what about post-game meal?
Ooh, post game. Let's see. I'm trying to think of like some of the spread options we've had this year. Oh, we had barbecue after our Sunday game last week, and that was an elite way to cap off the week. You get like a noon, 1 o'clock game, you get to finish a barbecue. It's elite. And then all of us, we go to a steakhouse every Sunday when we're at home in Grand Rapids, and we definitely look forward to that. So I'm gonna stick with that.
No, I think that's pretty solid. I think the spreads in minor league clubhouses have improved. Uh,
Oh, dramatically.
yeah, it used to
Like,
be peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and jelly, and
yeah,
just
maybe some ramen if you're
count
feeling
your
spicy.
blessings, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So you haven't had the opportunity to visit too many ballparks, as a pro. You spent the whole year in the Florida State League, but do you, outside of your home parks, because I'm sure you wax eloquent, and the ballpark in West Michigan is great. I've been there. What's been your favorite place you've visited?
Oh man, I would say from the minor leagues, I really like Fort Wayne. Um, that's the Padres high A tin caps. They were awesome. Also, it's in Indiana, so a lot of family, a lot of friends. Fiance was there. It was great. And then in the big leagues, I would say Rangers, Arlington. It was insane. I was there for the Futures games, as you were, and that's the best stadium I've ever played in my life. Obviously, it's new, but the lighting there is unbelievable. Makes the baseball look like a beach ball, even when the dudes are elite. Like it's just the lighting in there is perfect. People need to take notes on that.
You get to the big leagues. Who do you want to face? Who's the one you can pick? One guy, like, God, I want to face this guy, and I know you're a competitor, so you're going to pick. You're not going to pick some guy that you think you can necessarily get a hit off of, but who's the challenge that you think the biggest challenge?
I would go Blake Trinan. I've watched him pitch. Yeah, I know. That reaction is probably exactly
That
how
is
other people.
not what I thought you were. Yeah, I would have picked 27 other guys before I went Blake Tryon. Please explain.
That he has the nastiest set of pitching arsenal I've ever seen in my life. Like it's unbelievable, and his story is really cool. So I think it'd just be like that's a guy I root for, and I would want to face because I'm not sure I would have any success against that guy, but that'd be a really fun AB just to see what is going on with all of those pitches.
Three things that you think you need to do to earn a promotion to Double A.
Ooh.
And if it's less than three, I'll change the question. But what are some things? And knowing it's not in your control and you're where you are, and I know all those things. But like,
Mm-hmm. I would say this is Scott Harris ism. He'll love this if he gets a hold of it. Dominate the strike zone. Um, K less, walk more. That's the heart of our organization on both the pitching and hitting side. Continue to play elite defense. If you can play defense, you're going to play longer than anybody else can't. And I live by that. Defense is fun and it's just effort based. It's really easy to go out there and just dominate on the defensive side of the ball. And then consistency, finding ways to make the slumps less slumps and the hot streaks hotter. Like your hitting is going to do this for the rest of my career, for the rest of everyone's career. But the quicker that you can get out of slumps and the longer that you can stay hot, the longer you get to play.
what's the most recent tattoo you've gotten?
My full chest piece. I have a religious piece on my chest. I got a rosemary cross. It was just 10 hours of grinding. I'll tell you that much. It was a lot. It was painful. It was not fun, but it is beautiful. I'll tell you that much.
I'm going to take your word for it. All right. What is one question you wish hacks like me would ask you, but no one has asked?
Oh man, this is a good one. I've actually thought about this one before, so I'm gonna pull deep from my Rolodex of questions I would ask myself.
Your Rolodex.
I would say I just wish more people would ask about the flair instead of just assuming. There's a lot of people out there that assume what it means or why I do it instead of just asking. Now, granted, you've asked about it, but there's a lot of people out there, a lot of beat writers out there that just really don't understand that it's actually just my personality. Like I dress normally like that. I dress with flair regardless. So
All right. We'll dig into that another time. Whether this is like part of a Max Clark series, or I'm sure I'm going to find some excuse to talk to you again.